Hello, everybody. You've tuned in to the Indiana State Police Roadshow, brought to you by the Indiana State Police Alliance. Cops for Kids, subsidiary of the Indiana State Police Alliance. I'd like to thank Tom Trial, putting us on YouTube each and every week. Hi, Tom. Tom is waving to us, and we appreciate him being with us each and every week, putting us out there on the YouTube site. Also with me today is Mike Pruitt. Mike, thank you for being here with us. Mike is the Public Information Officer for Wayne Township Fire, the only public information officer for Wayne Township Fire. So you are busy all the time.
Do stay busy. Appreciate being here this morning.
Well, thanks for coming in. We're going to be talking about a topic that's very, very on the news right now, happening throughout Indiana, and things that are happening with people using alternate sources for heating and that type thing of Indiana. And I'm sure you guys are seeing the fire dangers, but we're going to talk about smoke alarms, carbon monoxide, and all the dangers that you guys see out there. So let's jump right into the smoke alarms first. What's a good smoke alarm for people to buy, and what should they look for when they go out and buy one?
Well, the moment you walk into any of the big box stores and you're looking at smoke alarms, it can get a little overwhelming because you find everything from $5 to $50. And then if you're really tech savvy, you can go with the wireless systems that go over $100 and can notify you automatically on your phone.
Got lights and buzzers.
It does everything. So, we don't expect people to have that, but we do expect you to have at least a working smoke alarm in your home. And we always recommend that you use a combination unit. And when I say a combination unit, when you look at the package, we want it to say photoelectric and ionization. And without breaking down the science on those, basically one detects a fast moving fire, the other one would detect a smoldering fire.
So one cannot detect both. You need two different types.
Right. And one will work better in different situations. Right. So we know a lot of our fires start out as smoldering fires, so we want that early notification. So we feel that after test, that the photoelectric does a better job of notifying you during a smoldering fire versus the ionization. Say we had a grease fire that lit up really quick on the stove or something called, it catches fire really fast. That ionization detector is going to alert to that quicker. So when you go out and you look, you'll see the I and the P on the package. And, we recommend that if you can afford it, and, we're talking probably a $30, $40 investment, very small investment for saving your life, but invest in that alarm. If you're going to choose the next level, then we would recommend the photoelectric, which comes down to the smoldering unit. And then, at a minimum, if you're going to use the ionization, we're not going to discourage that completely. If that's all you can afford, then go ahead and go with the ionization. At least you have something in the home that's going to alarm and allow you to escape in good time.
So what are we talking about? How many alarms do you need for a resident?
We recommend that you have one on every level of your home. I mean, the more the merrier. Right. If you come to my home, we've got about 5 or 6 of these alarms throughout a home. We don't have a very large home, but I'm just kind of a fanatic when it comes to being notified if I have an issue in my home. So putting them outside sleeping areas, if you can put them in sleeping areas, even better. Try to keep them out of the kitchen areas where you're cooking, because the first thing that happens is it becomes a nuisance. Somebody disables this, and you forget to put it back in play, and then you do have a real fire, and we have a very tragic situation that occurs.
Hardwired versus battery.
Battery, well, most all your hardwired ones have a battery backup these days. If you have an older home that's maybe been set up with these smoke alarms many years ago, you may have a hardwired system, and the moment the power goes off in the homes, it does not have any backup power. We just recommend replacing those or making sure that the battery backup system is working. The nice thing about the smoke alarms that you're buying off the shelf these days is that they have the 10-year battery in them now. So we never have to worry about changing the battery, and that's really nice. So it kind of coincides with the 10-year of replacing a smoke alarm. So 10 years comes up, you check the date, so it's time to go get a new smoke alarm, and you get that done. The ones that are hardwired, I would make sure that we're replacing those, or at least getting them inspected every 10 years to make sure they're working properly, but make sure they have that battery backup. That's the key thing.
And how often should they be checked? When you walk by, you see that test button.
Lots of people check them. I tend to like to check these things every month. Give me a broomstick, walk by, hit the button, make sure it's working like it should. If you want to choose a holiday that, birthdays, every year on a birthday, you're checking them. But at a minimum, I would say 6 months. Every 6 months, we're checking these things. If you do hear them starting to beep, it doesn't necessarily mean you have a fire. We get calls a lot of times for people that say their smoke alarm is going off, but they don't see any smoke. And And so when we get there, we find that it just needs a new battery placed in it. So they come with instructions on them. And so read the instructions of these smoke alarms, and it tells you maybe, what to do if they start going off and you notice that there's not any smoke.
So you get the intermediate beep, maybe it's telling you it needs to replace, instead of most of the time it's going to be a continuous.
Yes, if you've got smoke in your home and it detects that, it's going to alert, and it's going to keep alerting until you get that into a clear environment.
Yeah. So what about maybe going a little further into this, a plan if something does go off? It's always good to have a plan where you're going to meet up at.
Absolutely, and we preach this over and over and over, especially to our kids, and typically they're the better group to teach to is the kids when we go to the schools. Adults sometimes aren't very good listeners when we're talking about these topics, but go through a plan in your home. Make sure that everybody understands where they need to go, what they need to do in case of emergency. Have a fire drill in the home. Practice it. Practice makes perfect. That's why we as firefighters go out and we train all the time, so we have that muscle memory in our head in the moment an emergency occurs.
And to have that second route out, because your first one may be blocked.
Absolutely. You may have to go out a window. Have a plan for going out that window, shutting your bedroom door, going out the window, going out the back door. Practice multiple routes so everybody understands that. Again, it's going to go back to that muscle memory. That adrenaline gets pumping. We have an emergency. Everybody starts losing their mind. If you've practiced that and planned ahead, it's amazing how well that works for you.
And make sure that the children in that room have the ability to open that window in that area and get out.
A lot of people I've pulled up on windows in older homes and they're stuck.
Yeah.
And so either making sure those windows operate properly or teaching a child how to make that window or open that window with maybe a piece of furniture or something in the room to get out.
Have you got any did you bring along some smoke alarms?
Yes.
Maybe that are good to look at?
I have a smoke alarm here with me. This is one of the 10-year models. Okay, so put it up, install it per the instructions, and this one's going to be good for 10 years unless something alerts on it that tells me different.
It can be found at
any of your big box stores. Have them, and many of your hardware stores, even smaller hardware stores have these, so you can find them a lot of different places. If you cannot afford one, excuse me, my phone was going off there.
I was going to say, there's still programs out there where you can.
Yes, you can actually go to your local fire department and get at least one free smoke alarm for your home.
That's great. That's wonderful. And name brand, First Alert, all those.
They're the ones that all the big box stores sell. First Alert is one of those that's very popular out there. Today is another popular brand that we see out there on the market. Like I said, we try to stay away from some of the cheaper brands that you go in, you say, oh, there's a $2 smoke detector, but you're going to get what you're paying for. Right. And so we would recommend that you even get online and research what people feel has been the best performance-wise when it comes to smoke alarms.
Let's move on here a little bit. CO, carbon monoxide alarms. What are they and how do they work?
Well, if you have gas appliances in your home, and that's the kind of the audience that we're directing that towards, either
propane or natural.
Right. A CO alarm is a must. And the reason we have these CO alarms in here is this is going to detect a colorless, odorless, poisonous gas. So when people, many times we'll arrive on the scene and people say, well, I think I smell carbon monoxide. You don't smell carbon monoxide.
Right.
This is something that we see take people's life across the nation every year because they don't have early detection in the home. And what causes this carbon monoxide buildup is incomplete combustion. They're not getting their furnace cleaned properly. Even we're talking about our water heater or stoves, they're not burning efficiently and they're giving off carbon monoxide. And people basically are dying in their sleep. They're becoming ill. Not even necessarily in their sleep all the time. People can just be in the home, become ill, and next thing you know, we've lost the lives of not only one person, but maybe a whole family at times where they did not have the detection equipment in the home to pick that up.
What I've read is a lot of times that represents or kind of people feel like they have the flu, so they don't really.
Yep. That's one of the first indications that we got a problem, especially this time of year where everybody's been dealing with the flu bug.
Right.
If you're feeling better when you leave the home and then you're coming back and you're not feeling well, then I would be a little concerned, especially if you have gas appliances in your home, that there could be a problem going on. So we'd want to get that addressed very quickly.
Where should those be installed in the home?
Again, it's kind of like the smoke alarms. We'll go back to putting one on every level. We do not want to stick these, again, in an area where we have a lot of gas appliances. So if you anywhere like a furnace room, people might think, well, that's where I want to be alerted first. But the problem is that may be in that close vicinity to that appliance. It made sense that there's an issue there that close, and really there's not a huge issue. So we want to put these in our living areas. So outside bedrooms, anywhere we're going to be, in our living room, family rooms, that's where we'd want to install these.
And I'm supposing too, RVs should have these.
RVs, and most of the RV industry come already with smoke alarms and CO monitors both these days. So it's like a standard feature.
Battery operated again?
Battery operated, but we're probably going to see other options coming out with these in the future. But for the most part, most of these either take a 9-volt or the AA batteries.
Okay. Space heaters.
Space heaters. Space heaters are great friends to everyone who's trying to stay warm. They make you nice and comfy. I love a good space heater now and then. People like to take all different types of space heaters and use them in their home. Small ones, I know that if you go to the office, you're probably going to see folks with little space heaters under their desk. You may see a space heater in the living room. The problem is that people are leaving these on when they leave home. They go to bed at night, and they leave them too close to a combustible. So when we're looking at putting it too close to a bed, a curtain, a recliner, over time, it's going to break down those materials. It's going to start a fire. And we see death and serious injury every year from the misuse of these. So we need to be putting these space heaters at least 3 foot away from any combustible item and making sure that our children and pets aren't getting anywhere near these where they're going to knock them over. Most of the newer models have a feature now that when they are tilted over, they will shut off. That is a good thing.
Yeah.
The other thing people like to do is put an extension cord on there to extend the space heater out to put it somewhere else in the home, and we discourage that. It's going to pull too much electricity, overheat the cord, and we're going to end up starting a fire that way also. So
what about your gasoline and kerosene?
So you have the kerosene heaters that you can purchase also to stay warm. The problem that we run into, these people don't take good care of them, and they're going to let off carbon monoxide. Or people choose to put the wrong fuels in. We've actually had documented events where people put gasoline, weren't paying attention to what they were putting in the heater, put gasoline in the kerosene heater, and that did not work out. So when you get your heater, make sure that you read the instructions to what type of kerosene fuel needs to be put in that, and follow those and mark the containers that you're going to put your fuel in for that particular heater.
One of those yellow plastic ones instead of the other ones. Your chimneys.
Chimneys. Everybody likes a good romantic fireplace in the wintertime. And so we'll put the wood in. But when we're talking about wood, don't go out and cut a tree down in your backyard and cut it up and stick it in the fireplace. This needs to be seasoned wood, seasoned hardwood. And when we talk about seasoned, we're talking about wood that maybe is dried out for a year.
Right.
Because if we're not putting seasoned wood in our fireplace, we're going to get creosote built up. We're going to get a flue fire going on. And we get that flue fire going on, now we're running the potential of burning our home down. So if you're either buying wood or cutting your own wood, just make sure that you're going out. Make sure it's seasoned. Let it set at least for a year to dry out, and use that. Always get your chimneys and fireplaces inspected yearly by a certified chimney sweep. If you're not sure, there's plenty in the book out there to find, but make sure that they are certified at that when they go to do that type of work, and so that you're ready to use wood. Never burn trash. A lot of people during the holidays and Christmas, you'll find them stuffing wrapping paper in boxes. Well, all that glue in that goes up into your chimney, accumulates, and then we run the risk of issues there.
Well, we got about 45 seconds. I want to mention fire extinguishers. Fire
extinguishers. Yep. This is my nice little fire extinguisher. Everybody should have at least one of these in the home. We don't expect you to fight major fires. This is if you get a grease fire on the stove, something you can grab really quick, hit it, knock the fire out.
Great. Mike, we've talked our way through 15 minutes already, but I appreciate you bringing in all this stuff, all this safety equipment. And again, smoke alarms and carbon monoxide, very, very important to have at least one in your home.
Absolutely.
Well, I want to thank Mike Pruitt with the Wayne Township Fire Department Public Information Officer for being here today and talking about all this safety equipment and how to properly handle all this stuff throughout the winter months. And be careful out there as you're heating yourself up. If you've listened to the Roadshow, we'll talk to you again next week. Roadshow is out.